Welcome to the Lounge, everyone. My name is Toby Roydell, and today we talk about a thing as old as humanity itself. Why are we willing to go to war? The world is in distress. This is a little bit of an understatement, I know, because we have so many conflicts right now that we much rather not have. But we do. And at the time of this video, we have hundreds of wars out there in the world. Just because mass media doesn't talk about all of those wars, they still exist. Because media only tends to talk about those wars that are close by, or that their readership or viewership is more emotionally invested with. But that doesn't mean that so many horrible and horrifying violent conflicts are out there in the world, because there are. And this also bears the question, are there more conflicts right now as there were in the past? And this is always debatable, because we have such a strong feeling to a conflict that is close to us, like Ukraine, like Israel right now. It feels closer to us, we feel linked in some way, shape or form, so we care more about it, or we feel more invested in it than we were invested in some conflict in a country that we never even heard of. And today I want to focus on what pretty much no one talks about. What are the motives of those fighting on opposing sides? Not in one conflict, but in conflicts and wars in general. With some wars, it is quite easy. So we get those done with in a few seconds. There are wars where there are clear defenders versus the intruders. Sometimes it is that simple. That makes the war not less violent, not less horrible in any way, shape or form. It just makes the concept why the war is fought and who the people on each side fight for more simple. The defender fights most of the time for their survival, while the intruders want one of many different things. They want power in the country, they want the land itself, they want the resources of that land, they want to enslave the people that live there. Just some violent stuff where intruders come and take what is not rightfully theirs. So, now that we have those, let's focus on those that are not as simple. Wars have a tendency to being fought by mostly young men. This is by itself not very shocking as that we think about it, yeah, of course, because men are in their younger years are at the peak of their strength, and why shouldn't young men at the end of their teens or in their 20s fight wars? It has always been this way, right? Exactly, but there is a plethora of reasons why these young men go to war. Some of them are simply forced to. They have no chance, but surprisingly, many young men go to war for their own reasons. Firstly, I want to talk about dying for a higher purpose. There is this sense of being part of something bigger than yourself. Having this great feeling of achievement, that you've been part of something that is so much more purposeful than everything you've done in your pitiful life before that. Like defending your country against an intruder falls into this category, of course. And what lies behind it is a sense that there are reasons to die for, and good causes that are so strong and so important that it is worth dying for. And not only that, it will bring glory to your family. And everyone who is not participating is to be shamed. He's a coward. And he's not there when his country and his God and whatever you could ever dream to fight for expects of you. If this is a good reason to die, I guess everyone has to decide for themselves. But it is a big part of why young men are willing to go to war. Next up, a very good reason throughout history, propaganda. We can also call it brainwashing. A cause instilled in a young population, in this case into young men, that they need to go to war to kill, destroy, conquer the enemy, which is pure evil, who only exists to destroy oneself. This brainwashing occurs in so many different countries throughout history. Prominent examples are North Korea in this day and age, as well as China in this day and age, or the Germany of the past, where young men are so brainwashed into thinking that everyone out there is on the hunt for them or for their families and want to kill and destroy them, that they are so manipulated into this mindset of I need to kill to preserve, which twists the whole idea of life and death, and that killing is a means to preserve life. This is the main goal that any propaganda that aims for this kind of stuff is very good at, and what makes it really dangerous. And then there is a point which is very prominent and everyone will know about when they have done any research for World War I. It is adventure. Adventure comes with a great sense of naivety. Not knowing what is out there, what lies ahead of them. The most famous sentence in the history of war is, "We're home at Christmas." And it's also the biggest lie in human history. We are home at Christmas. Because the reality is, we are dead by Christmas, or we are not home by Christmas at all. Because if both parties believe that they are home by Christmas, victorious, one party has been lied to. Or as most conflicts show, both sides have been lied to. A quick and easy one is money. They are mercenaries. It's just their job. They get money to kill the opposition, and if the opposition pays more, they change sides, because it's just a job. A controversial one when it comes to willingness to go to war is criminal gangs, drug wars, stuff like that. Because people kind of have a choice, but they don't really have a choice. They are born into a basically criminal society that raises their children to hate the opposition that is living within the same city, just in a different district, and on sight they have to kill each other, just because they're part of different gangs. This is, by the size that those conflicts have, I would call them wars. We should not underestimate them, but people in them, as I just said, don't really have a choice, because they have no future. They don't really have family, they don't have society, a stability in their society at all. They need to have some loose friends, if they even can be called friends, to have some means of protection, but it ends up in pure violence and horror in itself. So they engage in many different kinds of violent interactions, but I really cannot say that they have freedom of choice there. Not at all. For those of us who have the choice of willingly engaging into a war or not, or in front of the question, should I join the forces or should I leave the country and leave all this stuff behind myself? These are such hard questions for everyone. Giving a tip here is impossible. But what we can do is try to figure out something that resembles the reality of war. And how do we do that? Through movies. I personally think there are a lot of movies who claim to be anti-war movies, which in the end actually only glorify it and make it seem as if there was this higher purpose, as if there was this thing that is worth dying for. And an anti-war movie, a real anti-war movie, shows that this is not the case. It shows simply, without any fantastic glorifying music in the background and flag waving dudes, how it really is and how it really could have felt like. And it's always shocking to me when soldiers who were present at a war that is portrayed in a movie, which is really brutal and really, really awful to watch, and they later say, oh, it's really good, they toned down the brutality for the movie. And I'm like, they toned down the brutality? What makes an anti-war movie, a really good anti-war movie, is letting us step into the shoes, or let's say the boots, of a soldier in that situation. And changing adventure and the sense of adventure that this soldier went into war, the naivety that I was talking about before, and changing that into unimaginable horror, pure horror, with the difference that a horror movie, we know it's not real, but that one is real. Our ancestors were there, and it could have been us at a different point in time. Unimaginable horror. Images that haunt you till the day you die. So bad that for most soldiers, their mind kind of splits, and one part of them is left behind on that field where their brothers in arms were killed, bled to death, were mutilated in the most horrifying ways that one cannot even imagine, and only a shell of themselves, an imprisoned shell, is the one that comes back home, if they even come back home. And there's no music playing, there are no fanfares welcoming them home. Most of the time there are veterans in the streets, homeless people, who cannot handle the reality of getting home again. And this is the same for every war on both sides. So saying there is a winner in war and a loser is such a big misconception. There are so few winners in any war that makes wars themselves so absolutely pointless and useless to me. So why should I sacrifice myself, my future, my ideas, my plans, my future, for something that makes so little sense as any war that has ever been fought? War is about the absolute uselessness of dying. And because this is so apparent, all sides during a war try to hide that from you. Always, they try to hide it and say that there's glory and medals of honor and whatnot. But it's just useless. It's just a useless death. Because then you're dead. What now? What do the dead have? I'll tell you what they have. They do not have fun in their lives anymore. They do not have any children or grandchildren. They will not be grandparents. They will not have a career. They will not do the things they loved with the people they love. Those who are traumatized, when they are awake, they see death. When they close their eyes, they see death. When they think about death. And when they don't think, they still think about death. Nothing else. And there are of course people that handle it better than others. But who handles war well? I always ask myself in situations where I doubt if there probably isn't there any glory in war? Isn't there this higher purpose in it? And then I try to remind myself, there is no glory in suffocating in mud. Being torn apart by a shell of your own people, of your own guys, because they miscalculated the flight path, and you're torn apart by your own shell. Where's the glory when you can't handle the pressure anymore, and to end it all you run into open fire so that it just ends? Or you kill yourself, or you are killed because you deserted and are caught, or you come home with one less arm or one less leg. And there's a main reason why there are so many young people, young men, who die in war. Because they don't know any better. And they are blinded by ideology, propaganda, money, adventure, whatever it may be. The only thing I know is it's useless. It's absolutely useless. Sometimes you can't escape it. Look at Ukrainians defending. They don't have a choice. doesn't make their death less useless. I sadly don't think it will change. I don't think it will change at all. Even during the next thousands of years. Because humans will continue on this path. Because of their will of being more important. Of being important to history. To write history. Something that is remembered till eternity. Immortality by actions. The only way many people think they can achieve immortality. My name is Toby Roydell, and I hope you enjoyed watching and listening to today's video. If you did, have a few thoughts here and there, that would make my day. And I will see you again next time, here in my lounge.